if you don't get the sign energies with their placements in the D9 chart right, then you could not be able to place the right effort in the right direction concerning the houses connected with the sign energies in the D9 chart. Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. We have been doing this series of having different planets in the D9 chart, placement of different planets in respect to connecting them to the D1 chart placements. We are looking at the Atma Karaka place in the D9 chart. We are looking at different manifestations for the 7th house, relationships and so on from the Navamsa chart, from the D9 chart. Today we will be starting a new series which is the placement of different signs in the different houses in the D9 chart. Today we will start with if the Aries sign is placed in different houses in the D9 chart, which means that for different ascendants you will have Aries sign in different houses in your Navamsa chart, in the D9 chart. Then what does it mean? Because the D9 chart is not a chart of possibilities which the D1 chart is. The D9 chart is a chart of probabilities, higher probabilities, which means the manifestation of getting better results. If you get the energies right, if you get the effort right, then there is higher probability those results will come for you. So let's jump in and understand how, if the Aries sign is placed in different houses in the D9 chart, what does it mean, what does it bring to you as its manifestation, and how you can best use the energy of the Aries sign in different houses in the D9 chart. Now when the Aries sign goes into the Lagna itself, or the first house of the Navamsa or the D9 chart, now the meaning of the houses in the D9 chart are not exactly the same as the meaning of the houses in the D1 chart, in the Lagna chart. The meaning of the houses in the D9 chart is slightly different. One of the reasons it is slightly different is also because the D9 chart is a chart of higher probabilities, but it also manifests its results by virtue of connecting the placement also in the D1 chart. And also the more effort that you put in the direction of the manifestation of the D9 chart, the sign energies and the planetary energies, then there is higher probability the results will come to you by virtue of how you are managing relationship. So when the Aries sign goes into the first house, so here the person is approaching the different manifestation of the first house of the D9 chart, combining with the Aries sign energies. Now the first house in the D9 chart is about collecting of different resources, different kinds of wealth, or different kinds of gains for you, or looking at different goals for you in areas of houses or areas of the first house. For example, what will be your name, or what kind of name will you get in society, what kind of fame you will get, what kind of dignity you will be able to get, what will be a standing in society, what will be a stature in society, how overall your health will manifest, how overall you will be able to achieve goals. And this is more connecting yourself to relationship, ability to work with people, ability to work with spouse also. So when Aries sign goes into the first house, this is about how you will be using the energy of the Aries sign, about being energetic, about being goal oriented, about being strategic, and using the goal orientation of the Lagna of the first house and the competitiveness, the eagerness, the dynamism of the Aries sign, then to be able to achieve the results in terms of your social structure, your designation, your stature in society, and your ability to be able to get best resources, best gains also for yourself, and name, fame and dignity. Now it's important that you also look at how not to be led by the shortcomings of the Aries sign. For example, being a little hasty, or being a little impulsive, or being short-tempered, because here, mind you, the Aries sign energy is in the Lagna itself. So here you need to be more careful not to be too over impulsive, not to be too short-tempered, not to give up your goals too easily, because then you will not be able to get the highest manifestation, the deepest manifestation, where highest probability is given to you basis Aries sign energy placed in the first house, in the Lagna, in the D9 Lagna, in the Navamsa Lagna. Now depending on which sign the first house of the Lagna has in your D1 chart, be able to combine them accordingly. Say for example, if the Lagna in your D1 chart is Virgo, then you have to combine the completeness, the ability to make logical decisions with the dynamic energy of the Aries sign in the Lagna of the D9 chart. Now when the Aries sign goes into the second house of your D9 chart, of your Navamsa chart, the second house is about how much wealth, resources, nourishment you will be able to eventually be able to accumulate, be able to get and be able to save, because the second house in the Navamsa is about what is the higher probability that you will be able to get the results of that house. So when Aries sign goes into the second house, so yeah, the person will be very energetic, very courageous, very dynamic to get resources, to be able to get his or her remuneration and to collect more resources and to be able to collect more nourishment for himself and for his family. And so because the D9 chart is more about what will eventually happen, what is the higher probability, so the zodiac is giving you a higher probability of collecting wealth, saving wealth and using that wealth for better emotional fulfillment also, as long as you use the Aries sign energy in the second house well. So because Aries sign energy is about energetic focus, being courageous, being goal oriented, using your willpower to be able to get your success in the direction and overcoming odds. So yeah, when the Aries sign goes into the second house, the person will use his dynamism, his goal orientedness, his willpower, his motivation to collect resources, to have more savings and to be able to also utilize that not only for his or her own nourishment, family's nourishment, but also to save. Now you need to be careful when the Aries sign energy goes into the second house, that not to be too impulsive or too restless trying to get the resources, trying to build savings, trying to be more financially secure, because when Aries goes into the second house in the Navamsa chart, the person wants to get financial security as soon as possible and accumulate resources. The person is also somebody who may like to use or likes to indulge himself using the resources for better quality of life also. However, if the Aries energies are not properly used, then the person will struggle to be able to get higher resources. And in that, while the opportunity is there, the Navamsa gives you the opportunity, but because of your hastiness, your impulsiveness, your restlessness, because of Aries sign energy is going into the second house, you may spoil your case. Now connect the placement of Aries sign energy in the second house to which sign energy is in the second house in your Lagna chart. If it's the Sagittarius sign, for example, in the Lagna chart, then you need to be looking at higher risk taking that you will do, because Sagittarius sign is in the second house, and ability to go beyond your borders to be able to get resources, to be able to get higher remuneration, to get higher earning with the dynamism of the Aries sign energy in the second house in the Navamsa chart. Now when the Aries sign energies goes into the third house in the Navamsa chart, what is the third house of the Navamsa chart representing? The third house of the Navamsa chart shows how in the matters of you being able to accumulate wealth and utilize your communication to be able to get better results, to be able to use your motivation, your hard work, your self-enterprise to get better results for yourself and gain out of your hard work, gain out of your effort. Because the zodiac is giving you a higher probability. While the D1 chart, third house is more about possibilities, the third house in the Navamsa in the D9 chart gives you a higher probability to be able to get better results out of your effort, out of your self-enterprise, out of your motivation. So the third house is about how much courage you will be able to put, how much effort you will be able to put using your communication skills and be able to get better results. And the zodiac gives you a higher probability of being able to do that and accumulating wealth, using your effort to be able to get better, and also self-enterprise, doing something of your own. But communication is the key here. Your ability to be able to influence others is also the key here. But because Aries sign energies goes into the third house, it is about how dynamic you are, how courageous you are, but how goal oriented you are, how competitive you are. And because of this ability to be able to strategize your effort, strategize your energy, focus your energy with your willpower, which the Aries sign energy represents. So here the person will put a lot of hard work, a lot of focus, energetic focus to be able to get the results of his or her effort. And so this is a high probability that the more effort that you put in, the more competitive you are, the more killer instinct that you have, you will be able to get better results out of the third house, out of your hard work, out of your effort. Now be careful where your hard work is going, how you're communicating, because the flip side of the Aries sign energies is also about being too impulsive, too hasty, being too short-tempered, also sometimes even getting bored easily if your effort is not giving you good gain. So keep your restlessness aside, try to control your temper, try to control your impulsiveness, so that over a period of time, putting your effort, you will be able to get the best results from your hard work, from your motivated effort. Now connected to which sign is there in the third house in the D1 chart. Say for example, if the third house in the D1 chart has Gemini energies, so here it's a double whammy, where you're connecting the communication ability of the Gemini sign energies with the goal orientation, killer instinct and strategic effort, courageous effort of the Aries sign in the third house of the D9 chart. Now when the Aries sign goes into the fourth house of your D9 chart, of your Navamsa chart. Now what is the fourth house about in the D9 chart, in the Navamsa chart? The fourth house in the D1 chart and the D9 chart are slightly different. The fourth house in the D1 chart is your general happiness, peace, tranquility, ability to get assets. The fourth house on the D9 chart is about higher probability to be able to get assets, higher probability to be able to get peace, tranquility, happiness, but connected to relationships, connected to how you are able to connect with other people, form meaningful relationships, form meaningful social connections also. So when the Aries sign energies goes into the fourth house in the D9 chart, in your Navamsa chart, here the zodiac is giving you the ability that use your energy, your focus, your courageous orientation, your goal orientation and your eagerness, your competitive energies, your dynamism to be able to accumulate assets, to be able to get all sorts of domestic conveniences and also to be able to build higher assets, accumulate assets, have all sorts of material conveniences also, apart from being able to have a good domestic life, also peace, tranquility in your home also, but connected to relationship, your ability to form relationships, your ability to work with others, your ability to be able to have more social connections, stronger social connections with the dynamism, with the eagerness, with the competitive energies of the Aries sign. Now connect the fourth house sign energies in the D1 chart with the Aries sign energies of the fourth house in the D9 chart. Say for example, in the fourth house in the D1 chart, you have Taurus sign energies. So now combine the principal orientation, the responsibility, the steadfastness, the bullheadedness of Taurus and the hunger for resources, the hunger for higher remuneration with the ability to collect assets, to be able to accumulate assets with your ability to form relationships connected to the fourth house, having Aries sign energies in the D9 chart, in the Navamsa chart. Now when the Aries sign energies goes into the fifth house of your D9 chart, of your Navamsa chart, now the fifth house is the house of your Purva Punya, the good karma that you are carrying forward from your past innings. So the D9 chart, Navamsa chart is a more fine dissemination of whether you will be able to use your Purva Punya, the good karma you're carrying forward or not, because the zodiac is giving you higher probability because of the placement of Aries sign in the D9 chart. So here a person who has strong Aries sign in the fifth house will be very blessed to be able to get a lot of gains from his Purva Punya and to be able to cut down on the losses and to be able to get all the good results of the fifth house in terms of your romantic real liaison, in terms of your investments, in terms of your children also. However, because Aries sign energies are placed in the fifth house in the Navamsa chart, which means that you need to be able to get a lot of results by being more focused and having strong goals towards your investments, and also being courageous in your romance, also being very dynamic when you're connecting to the opposite gender, because here the zodiac is giving you opportunity to be able to do that. And here the zodiac is saying that the more courageous you are, the more forthcoming you are, strong willpower that you have, then you will be able to get the kind of love, affection, romance that you want from the opposite gender as well as from your investment. Now the challenge here is, because Aries sign also has the flip sides of being too competitive, too eager, too restless, too short-tempered also. So these results may also influence your romantic relationship. It may also influence your ability to make career changes, will also influence the gains that you make. So yeah, you need to be a little careful, because otherwise all these negative tendencies, the flip side tendencies of Aries, may spoil your relationships, may give you a lot of challenges, issues also in your relationship. However, if you are able to temper your anger, your eagerness, your dynamism, and you have strong willpower, you have goal orientation, then you will be able to then you will also be able to do very well in your relationship, in your career changes, and also in your investments as well. However, this is about your ability to form a relationship, your ability to work with people. Unless you form relationships, unless you form meaningful connections, you will not be able to get the best results out of the Aries sign in the 5th house, even if you are energetic, goal oriented, and competitive also. So the better you are able to form relationships with the dynamism of Aries sign energies in the 5th house, you will be able to get good results, you will be able to make good gains. Now connect the placement of which sign is placed in the 5th house in your D9 chart to the placement of Aries sign in the Navamsa chart. Say for example, if you have the Capricorn sign energies in the 5th house in your D1 chart, in your Lagna chart. So here it means that combining the energies of order, structure, discipline in the 5th house in your D1 chart, and with the dynamism, with the energetic focus, with the goal orientation of the Aries sign energies, then you will be able to get the highest probability of the best results of the 5th house, because of Aries sign being placed in the 5th house in your D9 chart, in your Navamsa chart. Now if the Aries sign energies goes into the 6th house of your D9 chart, of your Navamsa chart. Now what is the 6th house about in the D9 chart, in your Navamsa chart? The 6th house is about your ability to overcome challenges, overcome competition, overcome inimical forces, and be able to also win those battles for wealth, overcome those losses which the 6th house make present to you, and overcome all the jealousy, the greed that others, your competition, will be able to throw at you even from behind your back. So the 6th house of the D9 chart is about how through your relationship management, through your ability to form social connections, through your ability to form meaningful connections, you are able to overcome competition, you are able to overcome the jealousy and the greed of other people, and prevent losses, and win the battle for wealth, win the battle for resources, win the battle in your service orientation, in your career as well. Now because Aries sign is in the 6th house in the D9 chart, so it gives you a higher probability that using your strategic focus, your goal orientation, your energetic approach, your courageous approach, and your willpower, your killer instinct, you will be able to overcome all odds, you will be able to overcome all competitive issues, challenges, problems also. However, you need to also be little careful, because the flip side of the Aries sign energies of being too impulsive, too restless, too short-tempered may also spoil your ability to be able to get better results, overcome competition with making meaningful relationship with the people who matter, with the people who have the power and influence. So be a little careful here, use those Aries sign energies well without succumbing to the shortcomings of the Aries sign in the 6th house of your D9 chart to be able to get best results. Now connect the placement of which sign is there in the 6th house in your D1 chart to the Aries sign energies in the 6th house in your D9 chart. Say for example, if in the D1 chart you have the Leo energies in the 6th house, so yeah, you are able to combine the responsibility, your accountability, your ability to take leadership because of Leo sign energies in the 6th house, and combine it with the dynamism, the energy, the focus, the eagerness, the competitive energy of the Aries sign in the 6th house, and through both and a synergy of these energies to be able to get the best results out of your service, able to overcome competition because of the Aries sign energies being placed in the 6th house in the D9 chart in the Navamsa chart. Now when the Aries sign goes into the 7th house in the D9 chart in the Navamsa chart, what does the Aries sign energies going into the 7th house in your D9 chart mean? The 7th house in your D9 chart is about your relationship, your partnership, your marital relationship, your committed relationship also, both with the opposite gender, plus also having those meaningful relationship in your team, at your work, in partnerships, and even in business, and through that able to get better assets, better conjugal happiness, better gains also from the partnership as well. And this is also how others see you on a day-to-day basis, because the 7th house is also about the day-to-day connection that you make. But because the Navamsa is about relationship, it means that without establishing better relationship, without being more balanced in your approach to others, without being able to form meaningful social connections and having strong rapport with people, you may not be able to enjoy, for example, better gains from your team, better gains in your partnership, better gain from your marital relationship, from your better half also. And especially because Aries sign has gone into the 7th house, which means that the person or you will have a lot of energy, lot of focus, lot of courageous spontaneity to also to be able to establish those relationships, establish those connections, trying to get into a relationship with somebody, in fact trying to overcome challenges which maybe the other suitors to your better half may be there, and you will be trying to overcome all that with your killer instinct, your dynamism, and your ability to be able to put your best foot forward and show that you're really focused on getting that relationship, getting the person, getting that partnership also. But the flip side to the Aries sign energy is also sometimes you can give up too easily, or you are too competitive, you are too eager, and sometimes you're too aggressive also in trying to get the better results of the 7th house. So here the zodiac is kind of warning you that please keep your short-temperedness at rest, be more peaceful, approach a relationship with a peace and calm, without being hasty, without being impulsive, without getting too bored, because these connections of the 7th house in your Navamsa are very, very important. Those relationships are very important, those partnerships are very important. Now connect the placement of the which sign is placed in the 7th house of your in the D1 chart with the Aries sign placement in your D9 chart. Say for example, if you have the Libra sign energies in the 7th house of your D1 chart. So here the Libra sign energies means you have to be more balanced, you have to be more committed, you also have to be more responsible in your relationship, you have to be more social, more giving, and through that connecting the dynamism, connecting their strategy, goal orientation, the energy, the focus of the Aries sign energies, then you will be able to get the best results of the 7th house in your D9 chart, in your Navamsa chart. Now if the Aries sign energies goes into the 8th house of your D9 chart of your Navamsa chart, what is the 8th house of the D9 chart? The 8th house of the D9 chart shows that there is a higher probability the zodiac is giving you to have stronger or longer longevity in your relationship, in your connections, in your partnership, and through that to be able to get better resources, to be able to get shared property, to be able to get inherited property, also to overcome losses and prevent long-term losses because of your ability to form meaningful connections, meaningful relationship, and keeping the obstacle, the challenges, the problems of the 8th house at bay. Now if you fail to form those relationships, those connections which the Navamsa represents, the D9 chart represents, then there could be a challenge, there could be a problem because of the flip side energies of Aries. For example, being too competitive, being too dynamic, rushing into dangers without thinking, and having the killer instinct to such an extent that you are trying to kill the partnership itself, kill the relationship itself, which will in turn help you to overcome challenges, overcome problems. So if you don't have those meaningful relationships, how can you overcome challenges of the 8th house in your D9 chart, especially connected to relationship, especially connected to partnership? At the end of the day, we work with people, we live with people, and we are social. So if you're not able to do that, then there is a challenge. But if you are able to use the goal orientation, the energy, the focus, the courageous approach of the Aries sign energies, then you can not only form meaningful relationship of the 8th house in the D9 chart, but you will be able to get a lot of gains from other people's money, other people's resources, shared property. Also, there will be higher or longer longevity of your relationship, of your meaningful connections, and you will be able to do much better in overcoming odds, overcoming challenges, and have long-term stable relationship, and being able to also get the best gains of the 8th house related to the 8th house, including inheritance. Now, connected to which sign is there in the 8th house on your D1 chart? Say for example, if in your D1 chart you have the Aquarius sign energies in the 8th house. So Aquarius sign energies means having a social construct, having a larger cause that you believe in, having a larger heart, being more liberal, and being able to approach relationships which the Navamsa represent in a manner that you will also be able to overcome obstacles because of Aries sign energies in the 8th house in your D9 chart. Now, if you have the Aries sign energies in the 9th house in your D9 chart, what does the 9th house in your D9 chart represents? The 9th house is about your faith, your belief, your focus on doing your duty, using your higher qualification, using your learning, using your experiences, even situational experiential learning, while being connected to others through your ability to manage relationship, which the D9 chart represents, which the Navamsa represents, which means your faith and belief should not be a hindrance to your ability to work with people, to deal with people, to also in your relationship being able to use your belief, your faith, your duty, sense of duty, and through the relationship be able to achieve more in the realm. So if you have Aries sign energies in the 9th house, so this gives you a lot of energy, it gives you a lot of motivation, it gives you a lot of willpower to be able to do your dharma, to do your duty through meaningful relationships, through meaningful connection, through being able to get with the right person, whether in partnership or in your relationship, even in your marital relationship. So use the Aries sign energies of strong focus, strong energetic approach, being courageous, being goal oriented, and get higher gains from your experiential learning through forming meaningful relationship, through getting high qualification, high learning, experiential learning, and then get the gains out of the 9th house. This also gives you a higher probability that if you are strongly focused on getting higher qualification, getting higher learning, going abroad, going to foreign lands also, then you may be able to do that using the strong willpower, using a strong focus to be able to get those best results out of the 9th house, connected to travel, connected to even using situational experiences to be able to get better gains, focus on relationship with the help of forming meaningful relationship. Now see which sign is placed in your 9th house in your D1 chart. Say for example, the 9th house in your D1 chart has the Taurus sign energies. So now using the steadfastness, the bullheadedness, the strong resolve, strong values and principles of the Taurus sign energy connected with the dynamism of the Aries sign energies in the 9th house to be able to get better gains, to be able to get the best resources, using your dynamism in foreign travel, in higher education, through meaningful relationships as well. Now when the Aries sign energies goes into the 10th house of your D9 chart, of your Navamsa chart, what does the 10th house in your D9 chart represents? It represents the higher karma that you need to do. This is the finest dissemination of your karma, of your work, of your career. And sometimes this may take you away also from your place of birth, especially if you have a lot of dynamism in that house. So when Aries sign energies goes into the 10th house in your D9 chart, so here the person will be very dynamic to be able to get higher work done, more work done, better work done, and also wants to grow fast because there is a strong goal orientation here. Person can also be very strategic and wants to overcome odds, has this killer instinct at work, killer instinct connected to goals, connected to his career, connected to the profession that he or she is in. So because of this competitiveness, because of this eagerness, the person will be able to do very well, and that eagerness, that competitiveness may also take the person far away from the place of their birth. Now one needs to be a little careful because of the higher killer instinct, being too eager, being too impulsive, being too restless, maybe short-tempered. You may also create unnecessarily challenges at work, unnecessary challenges connected to your career, to your team members, even with bosses. So one needs to be a little careful because the placement of sign energies or planets in the D9 chart gives you a higher probability those kind of results may come for you. Both gains may also come for you, both challenges may also come for you if you don't temper those energies well, if you don't use those energies well. Now see which sign is placed in your 10th house in your D1 chart. Say for example, if in your D1 chart in the 10th house you have the Sagittarius energies of higher risk taking, being more adventurous, being more liberal, and using educational qualification, using your higher learning to be able to get gains. So now connected this risk taking ability, the ability to be able to use your learning, ability to be able to use your experiences with the dynamism of Aries, the strategic focus of Aries, the courage, energetic focus of Aries, to be able to get best gains out of your karma, out of your career, because of Aries sign energies going into the 10th house of your D9 chart, of your Navamsa chart. Now if the Aries sign energies goes into the 11th house of your D9 chart, Navamsa chart, what is the 11th house in your D9 chart representing? The 11th house in your D9 chart represents your gains from your friends, from your social connections, ability to work in large organizations, and through those social connections, through the ability to be able to make those networks, and through that being able to get better gains. But with your relationship management, your ability to form meaningful connections, which the D9 chart represents, which the Navamsa represents. The Navamsa represents your ability to be able to make meaningful relations, meaningful connections, meaningful networks, and through that being able to get better results and higher probability of success in those areas. So when the Aries sign energies goes into the 11th house in your D9 chart, which means you will be very dynamic in being able to get better results from your social connections, from your friends, working in large organization with a strong goal orientation, with a lot strong killer instinct and lot of courageous approach to your work in large organization, even working for large or worthy cause also. However, be a little careful not to get into debts. Sometimes because of strong connections, very dynamic energy, you may also indulge in either loaning people money or even taking loans. So be a little careful, because the flip side of the Aries sign energies is also about rushing into things and not being able to balance in your approach, and too eager to get results, too eager to make those connections, and then fall in the wrong company, fall for the wrong relationship, also fall for the wrong career as well. So be a little careful how you use the flip side energies and balance that while you use the positive side energies of Aries sign well. Now see which sign is placed in the 11th house of your D1 chart. Say for example, if in your D1 chart the Virgo sign energies is placed in your 11th house. The Virgo sign energies in the 11th house in your D1 chart means a lot of societal gains will come with your ability to serve, with your ability to be able to give, with your ability to be able to heal, solve problems and overcome challenges. So there may be a tendency, especially if you have Virgo sign energies in the 11th house in your D1 chart and Aries sign energies in your 11th house in your D9 chart, that you may be too eager to get into friendship, too eager to get your social connection, and there is a challenge that you may also be at a loss if you don't make meaningful connections more carefully, because there could be some inimical forces also in people who may come across as meaning better for you and may not be thinking for your best advantage. However, if you are able to use the Aries sign energies well and be careful of what social connections you form, then this is one of the best placements of Aries sign energies in your D9 chart in the 11th house to get all your wishes and desires fulfilled, get higher gains from large organizations, and to be able to get the best gains from your social connections as well. Now, if the 12th house in your D9 chart has Aries sign energies in it, what is the 12th house in your D9 chart, in your Navamsa chart? This represents your waste or not being able to focus the right energies in your relationships, in your connections, and through that either making gains, using meaningful connections, or being wasteful in your effort to form meaningful relations and then losing those opportunities, losing those relationships also. And sometimes if it's not well placed, there are other malefics involved, then in your relations or through your relationships you may end up making more waste, more expenditures. You may end up giving too much sometimes in relationship and get less. And because Aries sign is in the 12th house in your D9 chart, which means you may rush into relationships, rush into partnerships, rush to foreign lands without thinking through whether a certain foreign country, whether a certain job, career abroad will be meaningful for you and work in your favor or not. So if the Aries sign energies goes into your D9 chart, in your Navamsa chart, be a little careful. Don't be too hasty, either to get into relationship, either to form meaningful connections or get into partnership, but be careful how you select your partnership, how you select your better half, those important relationships, and how you are able to control the expenses that you have, control the effort that you are able to put in a certain direction, whether it's relationship, whether it is in teamwork, whether it is in partnership, whether it is also being able to go abroad or work abroad as well. Now connect which sign energies you have in the 12th house in your D1 chart. Say for example, in your D1 chart you have the Gemini energies in your 12th house. So Gemini energies is also sometimes about not being too sure, being dual-minded, but your ability to be able to influence others, convince others, market yourself, market your ideas. So as long as you're strong, willpowered, you are not losing your focus too soon because of being dual-minded of Gemini and the ability to lose your focus through Aries, then if you are able to keep your focus, if you are able to keep your attention, and if you are able to work hard without being too impulsive, without being too restless, without being too bored to give away things, and without having too many doubts, which the Gemini sign represents, then over a period of time excellent gains can come to you through your relationship, through your meaningful connections, where you may be giving but you will be reciprocated in the long run and can get very good results even in foreign lands, even in armed forces, or connected to those careers which are about giving, taking care of others, in donations, in armed forces and hospitals, and even in foreign lands. Now friends, that we have seen how the Aries sign energies placement in different houses in the D9 chart will throw up different possibilities for you, higher probabilities for you to be able to get very good gains. Keep the focus on relationships, keep the focus on being energetic and courageous, but also know the flip side of the Aries sign energies and keep your cool, keep your temperament in stability, and don't be too impulsive, don't be bored of some activities too soon, don't rush into things. And if you take a cool, calm, composed but strong focus, goal-oriented energies, goal-oriented approach to your career, to your relationship, then over a period of time the zodiac will give you higher probability of getting the most dynamic success because of Aries sign energies placed in different houses in your D9 chart. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the link given below. Until some other time, with some other video, this is your friend, astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.